Skill number 2. In reality, once connected to a router, our computer or computers are always communicating with other devices on the network or devices on the internet. You don't need to be browsing the internet, searching a web page, or clicking on a program for network activity to occur. This is because some programs automatically activate network activity. For instance, your operating system may connect to the internet to download updates periodically without any intervention whatsoever from you, the end user. Let's have a look at this in practice. As you can see, no programs are opened and I am not searching the internet. However, if we go to Komodo on our taskbar, one of the programs we downloaded as part of our course prerequisites, and right click on Komodo, select widgets, make sure show is selected. Next, move to the widget and click on the down arrow. Here below secure, we see orange and green numbers. These indicate outgoing and incoming traffic to our computer. We see these numbers frequently being updated, which indicates our computer is having conversations with other devices. These devices may be on our local network or they may be devices that exist outside the network on the internet. We can use Seaport's TCP UDP viewer to determine who are the parties involved in these communications. Open Seaports. Next, go to Options and ensure your settings mirror those of mine. Also, you should go to Auto Refresh and ensure every second is selected. What we want to focus on here are two columns, the local address column and the remote address column. Specifically, under the local address column, we want to focus on those entities that have our local IP address. In this case, 192.168.1.32. I know this is my local IP address because, as we discovered earlier, using Task Manager and moving into our network settings, we saw that our IPv4 address is 192.168.1.32, and that is the exact same number that we see here on the local IP address. Next, under remote addresses, we see all the devices that our computer is speaking with. Here we see one device with an IP address beginning with 168. We note this IP address is not similar to our local IP address of 192. So we know this is an external party, external to our network, our local network that our computer is speaking with. This is an external party, one that is external to our local network that our computer is speaking with. However, we know that our local IP address and our local device does not speak directly to computers outside of our network. This is an abstraction between these two IP addresses, your local IP address and the remote IP address, is your router with its local IP address on one side and its remote IP address on the other. So, as we discovered before, your local IP address communicates with the local IP address of the router. Then the router in turn communicates that message using its external IP address to the external party. Apart from external connections, we know our computer can also make connections to devices that are local to our network. Again, using C ports, we examine our local address column. We identify our local IP address for the current computer. That's 192.168.1.32. We then look to the remote address column, and this time we see there is an IP address quite similar to our local IP address. This suggests that this network device is one that is local to our network. In fact, on this occasion, this is the IP address of my mobile phone that is currently connected to this computer. It is possible to have local network devices communicate with each other without communicating with devices that are outside of the network. That is, devices within the private network can connect to each other and to a router and not have access to the internet. You may have experienced this if your internet service provider disconnected your connection to the internet, but yet your devices, your phone, your laptop was still able to connect to your local network or your router. However, you would not have been able to visit websites or communicate with devices that are outside of your network, for instance, Google, Facebook, or Twitter. This concludes our second skill. Next, we'll be looking at our third skill, which involves identifying the programs that initiate these connections or conversations on our computer. We will be using programs and websites to identify these parties.